So hopefully we are live once again. Sorry for that. Okay, and we are back. So, as I said, Livingston up next. Home match against them. They've not won a game all season. We really must be looking to pile on the misery, keep ourselves towards the top of the table. As it stands, we are fifth, which isn't a bad place to be in, and 7 points behind Hibernian at the top, and just a point behind Rangers and Celtic. So we are very much in the mix as it stands. If we can continue to pick up points, such as that very good win against Celtic, then I fancy we should be able to um, really potentially even challenge for the title. It might be too soon to be talking about that sort of thing, but we should be confident in qualifying for Europe, ideally Europa League, but who knows? There might even be a Champions League in our future. Yeah, we definitely want to bounce back after that horrendous 4-0 loss to Newcastle. We didn't show our best side there, and unfortunately, James Trafford did have another mare in goal. Yeah, it's unlikely that Shashua will be back. We'll be patient with everyone. Don't want to start talking about Champions League qualification this early in the season. That it feels like a red rag to a bull, and we don't want to upset the football manager gods just yet. Okay, the challenge of Livingston awaits. So, welcome, hello. Do come pop into this chat and say hi if you so wish. If not, feel free to lurk and listen to me waffle on. We are here as manager of Dundee United, and aims for this season currently are to get ourselves into Europe once again and to ensure that we reach the knockout stages of the Conference League. We are the reigning Scottish Cup champions. And unfortunately got knocked out in the semi-final of the League Cup after an early sending off and another 4-0 drubbing. It is something that we are getting a little bit used to, actually, the occasional drubbing. As you can see, we got hammered 4-0 there by Hibs after Noel Huggins got sent off after 9 minutes. We've just lost 4-0 to Newcastle in the Conference League. Not an unexpected loss, but still painful to take nonetheless. Right, let's have a look and see what we can do here. So we've got a few tired bodies out there. We may have to play at least one of them. Hall looking tired, McLennan looking tired. We've got... Okay, so these are the only players who are not tired at the moment, as you can see. We've got injuries stacking up across the squad at the moment, which isn't great when you've got back-to-back games. We're going weekend, midweek quite heavily at the moment. So we're just going to have to try and nurse as much of the squad through this as possible for the time being. So McLennan is going to start, I think. Iacoviti can join him as centre back. Wrong button there, Adam. And let's get Huggins back in the frame. Hopefully he can stay on the pitch today. Um, Hadland is looking tired, so let's get McPherson in. He's not had a start in a while. We've probably not rotated McPherson in quite as much as we should have so far this season. And we'll play George Hall, and he'll probably be one of the first changes out. And let's get Kudjo in, who does every now and then pop up with something quite great. Hopefully Otterson is fit to play the whole game. Certainly feel like we've missed his goals. He has scored a fair few goals, mostly when pressing against the opposition back line. But he doesn't seem to like playing as much as a pressing forward. He prefers the advanced forward role. So we'll keep him as an advanced forward, but I may just go against his wishes and call him um, a pressing forward at some point, because he's stolen the ball off the centre backs a few times. I do wonder if that's his real strength there. Right, let's fill out our bench now with just about anyone who's fit, I think. Let's have Jack Vale instead. And away we go. Livingston awaits. Livingston, who haven't won a game all season, really should be there for the taking, but anyone who's played Football Manager for any length of time knows full well this is exactly the sort of game that you will lose. 9 times out of 10, perhaps I'm being a little bit too harsh, but definitely is one that feels like that proverbial banana peel. Okay, on with the game. So I hope everyone's having a decent start to the week. I know we're only at Monday, but hopefully you've had a fairly decent Monday, and unlike me, didn't get caught in the rain. And we have conceded very early at home to Livingston, a team that hasn't won all season. And as I say, the Football Manager gods have decided I should be their first victim. Right, we're going to go attacking, and we're going to berate the team for allowing such a lowly team as Livingston to score against us. And that will probably backfire, but we've got to try something, haven't we? And our defenders just don't seem to be able to do anything right. And Huggins, who brought in again after sitting him out for a while after his punishment for the numerous bad tackles and red cards he was giving away, looks to have given away a penalty. And there it is. This is Livingston's opportunity to go 2-0 up. And it's exasperating. It really is. Would have been too much to ask for James Trafford to save that one, I think. Well, we've got work to do. We are going to demand more. We absolutely need to pull ourselves together. Are we calling that a shot? I'm not entirely sure what happened there. We've got a corner from it. Um, and that was the highlight. That was a strange one. McGuinness now with the corner. Over to McLennan at the back post. How has that not gone in? Well, goal line technology will show us something there, I'm sure, but my goodness. And this corner comes to nothing. Goes back to Huggins, who plays it forward for Otterson, and that's the end of that highlight. Well, 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 well. Let's give them a bit of encouragement this time. But this has been an absolutely shocking start for us. We have so far in this stream conceded 6 goals without reply, 2 of them to a team at home who we should be thumping. Yeah, definitely a bit of arm thrashing now. This has been far from good enough. No one, I think, has made themselves look good in this game. Okay, come on, boys. Let's go get goals or something. Let's do a thing. Let's do a thing. No, not that thing. Anderson for Livingston now bringing it out, and they've flooded a few men forward, but we managed to steal the ball back through Lumeka. Lumeka now whipping the ball in for McPherson, who loses it, but we do recover. Back out for Lameka. Now get bodies in the box and let's get that ball across. Huggins, McGuinness, and oh, how are we not scoring? Gilt-edged chance there. Couple of yards out. That should have been a goal. It's a decent ball. And why have we hoofed that back to the halfway line? That's incredible. Let's make some changes. We've got Iacoviti who is injured, so he is going to have to come off. Otterson is looking anxious. That's good to know. So he's scared. McGuinness now looks scared as well. So let's bring on Lussey. Oh, we've scored a goal. I've done it again. Have I missed a goal because I'm making substitutions? I hope so. Or this looks like it's gone to VAR. Oh, no, disallowed. Okay, at least I didn't miss the goal. So what happened here? Yep, offside. I mean, if you stand offside, that tends to be what happens. You get called offside. Okay, let's give them try to give them some encouragement, and then I think we might have to go two up top and throw a little bit of caution to the wind. Oh, that's another offside goal. Yep, no VAR needed for that one. Okay, let's get more bodies up front. Let's get Lussey up front. He can possibly play as a deep lying forward. We're going to go just a little bit more direct with a bit more tempo. And got a difference maker somewhere on this bench. Let's go with that for now. We might need to save a few subs for freshening legs, like Hall is exhausted there. Let's get Hadland on, who could make a difference, and somehow Niall Huggins, who gave away the penalty to put us 2-0 down, has got a 7.3, something. So he must have played well for the rest of the game. But all I see is a man who is he's a walking red card. Well, let's berate them because they've done absolutely nothing so far. And it's another wasted chance. What do we have in the locker? I don't think we have much. That's just a silly move. That's not going to achieve anything, is it? Okay, let's put Doherty there. Let's get some weird and wonderful things going on here, shall we? Because we are out of ideas and out of options. Let's go very attacking, even though that pretty much brings the game to an immediate close from what I've experienced. And Cujo now. Is that a penalty? Ref, we having a look at that? No, we are not. Doherty now. Hadland. Obviously, we're very vulnerable at the back, but we are throwing everything forward in the hopes of getting a goal. We've got one back there through Lameka. Now, referee, we all know that wasn't offside. Let's just let us pick the ball up. I don't know why Lameka's off celebrating. He should be grabbing that ball and sprinting back towards the penalty, towards the centre spot. And it's another one disallowed. Well, I am flabbergasted. And I'm also not convinced that's offside. The right back there was most definitely keeping Lameka onside. And, well, we have been robbed by Football Manager in that one. They had 2 shots on target, 2 goals. We absolutely battered them throughout the game and have lost. We're going to do some more arm thrashing. They can watch me thrash my arms around in that dressing room every time we lose a game that we deserve to. A bad day at the office. Yep, I'm not talking to you about it. Yeah, we didn't take our chances. And unfortunately, I do think the ref has rather screwed us over on that one. Don't see that as a penalty, and I definitely don't see that as an offside. You need a rest. I'm not sure if I can. Okay, no, let's rest you for the next game. Give you a bit of rest from training as well. You are 18 after all. So, looks like no post-match press conference. They're probably worried about, the FA are worried about what I'll say after that absolutely shocking performance from the referee. Well, that's put a bit of a dent in our plans. We are now 10 points behind Hibs and 4 points behind Celtic and Rangers. So there's just a little bit of breathing space now for the top four. We are 4 points ahead of Hearts, so we're not at risk of dropping down the league anytime soon. But a match like that against Livingston, against a team that hasn't won up until that point, it's not one that makes you particularly happy. But we've got to shake that one off and get ourselves ready for the new Saints. A win here will guarantee our progress through to the knockout stages in the Conference League, and that is the bare minimum we should be asking for. I feel we are potentially going to struggle, whoever we do face in the knockout stages, but it will be nice just to be there. And I'm really not sure how much to believe about this excellent intake. 5-star intake feels like I should be looking at some incredible youth prospects, but I've had it season after season now where I end up with a 5-star intake and then 2-star players with 3 or 4-star potential. So I'm not quite sure what the marker is for a 5-star intake, but if you know, let me know because I've still not figured it out. Okay, we are actually quite heavy favourites for this TNS game, almost to the level that Newcastle were favourites against us, which probably means we're going to Livingston, it aren't we? I do hate it when they ask me about other managers getting sacked. That's their job. And I know that was Livingston manager, so yeah, go ahead and sack him. He didn't deserve that at all. That win. So I hope you've had a great start to your week. We are only at Monday, I realise, but we are all privileged to have hopefully seen or at least heard about Newcastle's 6-1 demolishing of Spurs yesterday, which I think would entertain anyone. I think that's an incredible result. And I mean, to top it off, Spurs have sacked their caretaker manager today, which is an incredible thing to happen. I can't say I remember a caretaker manager who's been in post for such a short time being sacked before. I'm sure it must have happened, but after this short period of time, that's incredible. Okay, a chance for redemption here. Um, James Trafford really needs to sort his handling out. He's got great aerial reach, but he just doesn't seem to be able to hold on to the ball. I wonder if he's not the one. We did have a very good goalkeeper last year in Brian Kinnear, I believe it was, ex-Rangers, who we sold for £8 million, partly to service the club's debts. They were sort of £4.5 million in debt when I joined the club, um, and to try and sort of use that money to freshen up the squad a little bit. We've managed to do that, but as you can see, we've still got some way to go yet. We're a long way off of where we want to be. And I think we've probably got a bit of work to do in January to try and get a few more players in who can compete. I'm going to have to give Huggins a start, even though even though he pretty much ruined our last game. But yeah, we do need some sort of additional players in to compete. As you can see at centre back, we're struggling for fitness, just injuries everywhere. Um, and even when we do have players that just don't seem to be performing for us at the moment, that's probably my strongest midfield. But looking at some of I mean, Ross Graham is my best player by far, and yet he's been struggling for form. George Hall, very good signing, very good player, but struggling for form. We are just not quite finding the things to make us tick at the moment. Perhaps I need to look at a change up of personnel in January. But let's give everyone a chance to redeem themselves in this one. Okay, so we're going Doherty, Iacoviti, Graham and Huggins along the back, Hadland and Hall in centre midfield. And then our front four, Aguilar on the right, Shashua in the attacking midfield slot, Lumeka on the left, and Otterson as the tip of the spear, or whoever put in that's not registered. Sorry, that should have been Andrucci. Andrucci can come off the bench if needed. He did score 4 goals in a single European game for us, so he's quite good at these European nights, or at least one of them. And hopefully, this will be a chance for us all to get a bag full of goals and set ourselves up for the rest of the season. Okay, let's see what we can do. Okay, we've now got the ball forward, but it's just so scrappy. We've not got that quality at the sort of top end of the field. Even when we do get hold of the ball, we seem to give it away too easily. And I mean, as you've just seen there, when a shot finally does find a way towards the goal, it's never quite at the goal. That's something else we'll need to look at. Maybe we've got a few more players yet before we're a real competitive squad. And we've gone one behind. It just feels like, I don't know if this is nerves. I don't know if we've got 4 players at the back there who are just a bag of nerves, but we are throwing away chances. We are giving away goals because we're not clearing the ball. We're not holding on to the ball when we need to. May well be that a change up of tactic is needed soon. Iacoviti now spraying the ball out to Lameka, who cuts back and dances around with the ball before laying it off to Hall. Ball back to our centre back, and this is a better move out to Lameka. Can we make something of this? Huggins crosses it in for Aguilar, and that's a goal. Aguilar scores the equaliser, and we are back on a level footing. So hopefully we can take this now and go on and complete the job. We're going to encourage the team. We want a second. We desperately need a second, I think. That's a decent ball into the box. Hello, is that a penalty? We've got a penalty here. And it's Shashua who's going to take it. And that's a good penalty. The keeper went the right way, but it was far too powerful for him. And we're 2-1 up. We are close now to completing at least one of our objectives for the season. And what does that do for us? That pushes us back up to 22nd, I think I saw. No, 18th. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, well, let's hope we can do more of that in the second half. This isn't by any means secure. We are vulnerable enough at the back. I think that we could throw this away, and I think in general we'll be looking at probably a fullback, maybe even another centre back to try and tighten things up. I still don't feel I've got the fullbacks in place. A lot of the time we end up conceding chances to crosses and not dealing with them in the centre either. So there's plenty that we need to improve. But we start off with a chance here, but it's another one that lacks quality. Okay, let's see if we can keep this one out. That's sprayed. Doherty clears up, lays off for Trafford, who just hoops it forward despite the instructions to play it to the centre backs. That's just hoofed up, and now we find ourselves in trouble again. And Collins, and that's crossed over, and we've conceded a second goal. And as I've said, we are very vulnerable at the back, and there are some changes that are needed pretty urgently in this squad. So we're going to get Doug Tharm on because I think I was meant to leave McClellan out. I had promised him a rest, and Otterson once again completely anonymous. He started the season incredibly well, scoring 7 goals in the first 7 or 8 games of the league season, but hasn't really done much since. He has scored 1 goal, I think, since then. And it's just not done the job. But Aguila is there to put away our third goal of the match. Third goal of the season. I do think I probably would have been sacked if that were the case. But we are now 3-2 up, and we've managed to really make this difficult for ourselves. We are, or should be, significantly better than the new Saints, but we are really making hard work of it. I think we are going to bring off Huggins for Mitchell Frame, and I'm also going to bring off Hadland, who's not been fantastic, and we'll bring on McGuinness. We'll put him in centre midfield and see if he's able to provide something to us from there. And the stats tell us that we should be comfortably ahead in this game, but it is a big European night. TNS obviously sniffed that outside chance of qualification for the knockout stages, and so they're throwing everything they possibly can at it, and they're mighty close to being able to pull it off. As they lump the ball forward there for Taylor, but Graham deals with it well. Doherty out to Hall, and a big sweeping ball out to Aguilar, who has done quite well today. That's a great ball for Shashua, and that's 4. And that has surely secured our qualification into the knockout rounds. Surely that's enough. I see Lameka there looking exhausted, so he will now have to come off. We'll put Cujo out there, I think. And George Hall can come off and rest himself. No, he can't because we're out of subs. And that'll do us. Cujo can come on. Aguila has the ball. Big lump forward for Andrucci, and that's 5. And we can start to relax now. We've earned this one. We made it look very difficult to start with, going behind and letting them equalise, bring it back to 2-2. But we have since turned on the style, and I think thoroughly deserved this. We have been the better team, at least going forward. Defensively, we are a mess. Defensively, we've got nothing to stop them. Um, we don't soak up pressure at all, and that's something we'll need to work on. There will be changes in January as we look to try to strengthen that back line. I do think a first choice right back and potentially even a centre back or two is needed, and that is 6. If that's not, no, that's offside. That is offside. Un- Unnecessarily offside as well. That wasn't needed, but I'm not going to complain too much. 5 is a good haul in any game. And now we're going to have time to make it 6 just for kicks. No, that's a corner. And let's just see out this game. Last 20 seconds. We are still on an attacking mentality. Let's just change that back to positive. It won't come in time for before the full time whistle, but why not? And this is what I mean. We are so shockingly permeable. We just let everything through at the back. Nothing more than a big lump up forward from the goalkeeper, and we still give them an opportunity at goal from it. Definite changes needed. Ross Graham might be one of the better players at the side, but I think he needs more help alongside him, both on the sort of wide positions in defence and in the centre. He needs a better partner. McLennan will get there, but he is only 18, and we're putting a lot of pressure on him to be our first choice centre back. And that is our qualification there in through to the knockout rounds of the Conference League, where I think we're likely to play one of the better sides. But that is job done. That is as far as we were expecting to go, and I'm quite happy with what we've managed to do there. Jose Aguilar leading the line there. Great job. 19-year-old winger who we bought in from Colombia, from Atletico Nacional, and we've converted him into an inside forward on the right hand side. He came to us as a winger on the left, and we've just moved his position over because he's got everything that I think we need out there. And yeah, 6 goal contributions in 16 games isn't too bad at all. Probably can get better from him, but he is young, and there's plenty of learning to be done. He's got the potential to go on and be a very, very good player for this club indeed. All right, next up, we are away to Ross County. Now, this is another game that I would say we should be looking to win. We are one of the strong. Well, we're not. We're a top half side. As you can see from the season preview, we're expected to finish 5th. So we are certainly better than Ross County, and we should be looking to get a win in this one, even away from home. And then we've got St Mirren, which will be slightly tougher, but no reason why we shouldn't be able to get 6 points from the next 2 games. We will have to rotate the squad around a bit because we have got Rangers as well. And then Wraith Rovers, followed by Hibs. So a busy couple of weeks for us. 5 games in 2 weeks there. Before we finally do get a bit of weekend football only for most of January before the whole merry-go-round starts again. But the important thing to take from this is we have qualified for the knockout stages of the Conference League. I wish some of these training performances would result in on-field performances quite as good as 9.7. Okay, let's see what we've got for Ross County. I wonder, did I upset with McLennan for... No, I did rest him. He sat on the bench, and that's apparently enough to class it as a rest. Apologies if I keep going quiet during the press conferences, but I can only do one thing at a time. I can't read and speak at the same time. I am just a man after all. That's unfortunate. Aguila being injured is not what I'd like to see because I do enjoy being able to get him in plenty of game action. Looking at that, 12 goal contributions from 22 starts. He has become one of our most important players. And Otterson, that doesn't tell a whole story. He has 9 goals in 13 league games, but he's only got one in the last, what is that, 12 games? He's got an awful lot to improve on. Awful lot to improve on for us. He did, I think he scored his last goal actually playing as an inside forward and as an attacking midfielder. So it may well be that we have to look at moving his position. Perhaps he's not the striker we're hoping for. But when you can see, that holy trinity of dribbling, finishing, and first touch, as good as that is at this level of the game, I feel like he should be a striker. He's perhaps lacking in the air a little bit, and maybe his passing is what lets him down. But he definitely should be able to do a job for us. So we will persist and hope that he finds form, he gets that spark, he plays himself into some form. Okay, Gwilla's injured, Iacoviti is tired, Graham is tired, Hall is tired, and let's see who else is exhausted. Doherty. Oh, good. Huggins is available. He'll probably give away a penalty or get a sending off or something. Let's put him over on the right so we can get Mitchell Frame on the left then. Okay, our centre backs for this one will have to be McLennan and Tharm. So we'll have McLennan. Do you have a preference of what side you play on? No, you don't. Doug Tharm. Similar question for you. Do you have a preference? Yeah, you want to be on the right. That's fine. So we'll put Doug Tharm out on the right of our centre back pairing and McLennan on the left. And again, it doesn't feel like a strong pairing. I'm not sure what my strongest pairing is at the moment. Graham is definitely part of that. I was hoping it would be with McLennan, but I do feel like we're putting too much pressure on him far too young. And at the moment, there's not a huge amount I can do about it until I can dip into the January transfer window and get a better centre back in. May have to be a loan option. I think we've only got 1.2 million in the transfer kitty. We'll have to see what's available for us. Okay, let's put Andrucci up front for this one. Yeah, let's give Andrucci a chance up there. Lussie again is another youngster. He's only 20, so we don't want to go putting too much pressure on these players to be starters too early. So some youngsters do take to it very, very quickly and immediately slot in well to those positions. Others not so much. Okay, so Graham Doherty, and do I have another defensive option for the bench? Yeah, Iacoviti. Midfield options, Lassie, George Holt. Let's get Jack Vale on there. McGuinness has done quite well. Let's give him another. Let's give him another central midfield match. I ordinarily play McGuinness as my attacking midfielder, but Shashua has been in far too good form to be messing around with that too much. So we're going to give McGuinness a start in central midfield and see how well he takes to that position instead. He was an incredibly good player for us, scoring some key goals last season. So I'm keen to keep him in the squad. Okay. Let's see if we can keep ourselves going up the table. I don't often see that. We've got a 4-4-2 diamond that we're against here with Ross County. I think if I remember rightly, FM22 was quite good for those narrow tactics. And it seems to be nullifying us entirely. We've not had a single shot. Ah, there we have the first shot. We're holding on to the ball well, but we really aren't creating anything at all. And Ross County get the first highlights. It's headed away, and Drucci just carelessly knocks it forward, and Ross County recover the ball. But Lumeka steals it and loses it immediately. A lot of that ping pong kind of happens, and we've conceded again in a terrible, terrible fashion, just not stopping the cross. I don't think this was offside. It certainly didn't look it to me, and that is 1-0 to Ross County. And as you can see, our fullbacks just absolutely nowhere to be seen. Centre backs don't close down, and Doug Tharm here just second to react to that, and we are 1-0 down, and quite deservedly so. We haven't shown anything so far. Can we atone for our mistakes? We have the ball with Otterson, who charges forward and then passes all the way back to the centre line. Frame now loses the ball too easy, and Ross County can now build their own attack as they stretch us wide. Incredible for a diamond midfield to stretch us this far wide, and we've conceded a second. Oh, this is as frustrating as it gets, watching us just self-destruct time and time again. We should be doing an awful lot better than this. And unfortunately, these players are once again letting themselves down. I am starting to wonder whether it's a change of goalkeeper that's required here. James Trafford just hasn't shown anything of late, other than one game where he pulled off two incredible penalty saves. Outside of that, he just seems to be a disaster. And Drucci now with a chance to get one back, and that's a very good finish. We've got to go attacking and try to put the pressure back on Ross County. Let's go and get a second, boys. Let's get that ball forward quickly. Okay, so Ross County have the ball, and it's a big lump forward. We do capture the ball. McGuinness now. McPherson. We've pressed forward in numbers. Lameka. Good ball across for Andrucci, and we have the equaliser. As bad as we are at the back, we do seem to be able to get forward and score goals. Part of that is the way I set my teams up. I'm very much about attacking and scoring goals, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind just a little bit of defensive ability every now and then. Let's make some changes. Let's get Tharm off and see if Ross Graham can come on and just solidify that back line a little bit. Shashwa is exhausted, and so we're going to give Lassie a run out as an attacking mid. And Lumeka is exhausted. He's had a great game so far. Let's see if Jack Vale can come on and complete the job. Okay. 15 minutes left to go. Can we do this? We're still going to attack and we're going to encourage the boys even more. Let's go and get a win and put the shame of Livingston behind us. We've intercepted the ball in midfield here. Move it forward to Otis and Lussey for Vale. Oh, and Jack Vale has... He's strayed offside, but that finish probably should have been better. Trying to beat the goalkeeper at the near post didn't quite work for him. McGuinness hasn't really seemed to enjoy that position there, so we're going to bring Nicky Hadland on. And Otterson is exhausted and has contributed very little, so we'll bring Cujo on for the last 5 minutes to see if a bit of pace down the right wing can do something for us. And here we are in injury time. Graham now with the ball at the back for us. Frame plays it forward to Vale. Through for Lussey and... Oh, it just felt like that should have been the goal. It was a great opportunity. Lussey was through 12 yards out. Goal beckoned him and he puts it wide somehow. Well, we'll go with what the assistant manager says there and try not to beat them up too much, but I am very frustrated. Very frustrated with that. So we lose a little bit more ground on the teams above us, although it looks like Rangers dropped points as well. But Hibs behind us, Hearts dropped points as well, but St Mirren are now on our tail. And Hibs are now 12 points clear at the top there. 12 points clear of us, 6 points clear of Celtic. That's a pretty impressive situation. Considering they're third best and a fair chunk behind Rangers and Celtic. They'll do well to keep that up over the rest of the season, I think. Okay, nice short press conference, just the way I like them. So Hibs won. Well, at least when was it Hibs or was it Hearts? I always forget which one is which. Who did we lose to in the cup semi-final? It was Hibs, so they went on to win that. So I'm happy that we did at least lose to the eventual winners and the team in cracking form at the moment. So that's maybe not quite as bad as I worried at the time. And an early red card in that semi-final kind of destroyed that game for us. It was never going to be the one that we lucked into, and they soundly put us to the sword and apparently did so in the final as well. So congratulations to them. Okay. Yep. Who are we transfer listing? Savin and Nisbet. Yep. You're my backup goalkeeper because you're staying. I don't want to change anybody's playing time right now. And let's move on. Has Rebecca's form in the last 5 been that good? No. That's not good enough for me to be praising anybody. That's 7.5 and above, that deserves praise. 6.5 and below, that calls for a less fun conversation. 7.05 is just a nod in the corridor. Okay. So next up, we are going to St Mirren. Now, this is one that could see us drop out of the top five. So it's one that we really need to make sure we try to perform as best we can. While we are thinking about things, let's have a look and see if we can get our scouts finding us something along the back line. Yep, transfer and loan. So we desperately need some improvement there. Anyone on our shortlist already who... So this is one I was very interested in, a very solid looking midfielder who could play wing back, potentially could play left back. But mostly I like him for the idea that he can be a solid box to box midfielder for us. He would swallow the entirety of our transfer budget, although we could try to structure a deal perhaps. And this guy is coming off the shortlist because he really is well outside of our purchasing power. Nothing much on the freebies list there, but we again don't really have a great deal of purchasing power with that £1.2 million transfer budget. We're slightly overspent on wages as well, so we'd probably need to move that over to compensate. And once we've created enough, we've probably not got much of a transfer budget left. So this may well be a no-hoper. But let's get scouts out doing things. Now, who are you wanted to buy? Plymouth. Okay, let's get scouts out on anyone who looks like they might be fairly cheap. Interesting, they don't see him as a long-term option. Solid if unspectacular in his league performances over the last few years. Could be an option. Let's add him to the shortlist and see. Again, it's another one we'd probably have to look to structure a deal or get them to knock something off their asking price. But we are fairly desperate now, I think, to find players who can improve this squad. Let's add you to the shortlist. You could be inside our budget. That's an interesting one. Question is, what's wrong with you? He's 6'3", good jumping reach, okay heading, mentals fine. You're very much a tackler, aren't you? These clubs going in for him, though, that's what interests me more than anything. Potential to get a bit better. Okay, you can go. You're on the shortlist. Let's just get the scouts to take one last look. Okay, we'll let the scouts do their job. We've told them to go and find us defenders. Let's let them go and find defenders. Otherwise, I could spend all night lost in that player search screen looking for that one player. Okay, St Mirren, fairly big game for us. I think they're a team that's close to our level, and being the home side will present a challenge. And we desperately need a win to get ourselves going back up the table. We've not dropped any spaces, any places in the league, but I do feel like we're at danger of doing so. Doherty, you probably haven't had the form I'd hoped for. Let's see what Tharm can do there. Else on the right. We do have the visit of Rangers, and I may actually look to rest the first team between this game and Rangers, so we can put out a competitive side in both matches. Let's put Iakoviti on for this one because he probably won't start against Rangers. He just hasn't got the big game mentality that you need. Frame can start on the left. Yeah, I think his form's been ever so slightly better than Huggins. And Huggins, as I've said before, is a walking red card. He will occasionally just decide he doesn't want to play the game anymore, and will throw himself in a just at anyone who happens to look at him the wrong way. I think it's can be a handy trait to have someone. I didn't notice he was tired. Huggins might have to start this one, as I am rather short on options. Oh, they're all tired. Okay, that's fine. Frame can start. Huggins will probably come on fairly early on them. Shashua, not impossible to drop at the moment. He's playing just too well. And we'll go for Lumeka and Andrucci. Okay, so let's get some subs on. One per position if possible. Wing, striker, wing. There we go. Let's see how we get on. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you've had a lovely Monday so far. I got absolutely pissed on coming home from work, if that makes anyone feel better about their Monday. Grumped my way all the way home. And if I'm honest with you, Dundee United not making it any better at the moment. We've been very hit and miss so far. Let's see if the boys can bring my spirits up. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But do feel free to drop in and say hello if you're out there watching. Let me know what you do to try and turn this around. And Trafford's done it again. Once again, it's James Trafford. I'm beginning to wonder whether it's really the centre backs or the full backs that are to blame. That's incredibly poor. I mean, our full backs don't pick up the run here, but for James Trafford to come and not jump for the ball, just simply slide in front of the striker like that, it's horrendous, isn't it? A goalkeeper at this level should not be that poor at decision making. I think goalkeeper is the position we need to look for. I think that has changed my priorities. Can Shashua get us one back? Yes, he can. So going forward, we show once again we have the ability. I mean, referee, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. I told you you don't want to do this. It was definitely a legitimate goal. Otterson does brilliantly there to feed it over to Shashua, and he just smashes it. I'm not really sure who was being looked at for offside there, but it's back to 1-1, and we have fairly quickly undone the damage that James Trafford has done to us. I did think it was too good to be true. We sold Brian Kinnear for £8 million and then managed to get a replacement for 300,000, who, at least according to my scouts, was just as good. And then Hassan Drucci got us through. Otterson's got the second. That's the response we wanted to see. It's a lovely ball over the top there from Shashua once again, who's just bossing the game so far. Andrucci rounds the keeper beautifully and unselfishly slides it back to Otterson to give him the easiest of finishes. And we have taken the lead with just 2 shots on target so far. Good efficiency from us. Can we keep it going? Once again, we're dominating the ball. This vertical tick attacker is exactly the style of play if you want to keep hold of the ball but still get the ball forward. It's certainly one that I've come to favour in this year. In this year's FM. Last year, I think it was very much gegenpress, exhausted the players, and I think this year more so than any others, it takes too much of a toll. I think it's not something you can use week in, week out. We've got another another penalty. I think it's the first penalty of the season. It's not the first penalty of the season. Be quiet, Adam. But Shashua has put it away, and that's his second goal of the game, and he is turning on the style. He's shown himself to be an incredibly good signing for us. He had a fairly convincing start to his Dundee United career, but in the last month or so, he has become a key player and pretty much a first name on my team sheet, bossing the game from that attacking midfield position, and he's keeping Carl McGuinness out of the squad, out of the first team, which was pretty much unthinkable last season. He was my go-to man. I can see a couple of bodies getting a little bit tired there, so we are going to make some changes at fullback, just to try and freshen things up and make sure that we don't start giving away too much space down the wings. Okay, Graham is going to have to stay on. Or is he? I could bring on McLennan. Okay, let's bring on McLennan just for the last 15 minutes. And we will also get Lemeka off and let's give Jack Val and no, let's give Cujo a run out. Jack Val missed that chance in the last game, so let's give Cujo a chance to go and uh, to try and get himself a place as our first change winger. Okay, last change incoming with just a couple of minutes left to go. And I think George Hall has earned himself a little rest, and we'll give McGuinness a chance to get on the pitch. Well, that's a lovely ball through for Andrucci. I don't think he was offside. There's no flag gone up, and we do have a corner. But we do show some signs of ability going forward. We are so weak at the back, and I'm now fairly convinced it's down to the goalkeeper, who I'm actually going to tell him I'm quite upset with, because we've seen too much of that. So let's get our scouts looking at goalkeepers, shall we, as well? Don't think we can solely blame the defenders anymore. Uh, Transfer unknown, 3-star ability. It is a top priority. I want a new goalkeeper before the January window is out. We'll have a quick look at the player screen just to see if I spot anyone who could potentially come in and be our first choice goalkeeper. So we've got Dylan Berry there at Glentoran, who has incredible aerial reach, 6'6", big goalkeeper. And let's have a look and see how he stands up to James Trafford, shall we? He's better in a lot of areas. Is he the sweeper keeper that I want, though? Not really. I do like a sweeper keeper as part of this vertical tick attacker style that we like to play. The goalkeeper has to be fairly able to keep up with it. We'll add you to the shortlist and we'll think about what that might mean for us. I mean, part of this is there's not really anyone else likely to be in our price range who has that same level of ability. Okay, let's let our scouts do their job. If they can find me someone who has more ability as a sweeper keeper than Dylan Berry, we will probably look at them. But so far, he looks my favourite. Okay. Oh, I said I would rest players, didn't I? Can I give them 2 days rest still? Yep. Okay, let's rest this first team just to give them the best chance possible of being available for the start of the Rangers game and hopefully to play most of it. Rangers are managerless, are they? I wasn't aware of that. Why did no one tell me this? Well, let's see if we can pile on the pressure then. The question is this a job that we'd want to apply for? Is it one that we'd even be considered for? So, 3-star reputation for us. Rangers as a club have 3.5-star reputation. It certainly feels like it's within our capability to get that job. We're certainly not going to be the favourites, and I'm sure Rangers will be looking for someone with proven title winning pedigree. But it's certainly interesting, isn't it? Who's the favourite for that? Ian Viggers. Manager at Ross County. Now that's interesting. So less of a reputation than we have. Now Rangers could very much be the team that we really start to build championship winning and European competition winning pedigree with. They do play an awful defensive 7 defenders, really. Realistically, 7 players who are defending the goal, 1 striker, wingers. We'd have to give, we'd have to make quite a few changes there. We'd have to adapt them to my style of play. But that's an interesting one. Let's apply. Let's apply. Let's go and beat them and then get their job. Let's dole out some training praise just to keep everybody on side. And after a decent comeback win against St Mirren, can we go on and complete the job and get a good home win against Rangers before hopefully redeeming ourselves against Wraith Rovers, because we really laboured to a 2-1 win at home against Wraith last time. So hopefully we can jump into their ground and do a better job. And we've got an interview just before our game with Rangers. Well, I don't know if there are some mind games at work here, but let's go and interview for the Rangers job, shall we? Oh, I don't really have that much lack of experience. I've been here for a year now. Develops a reputation for applying other jobs while still employed. What's that all about? Well, I just want other jobs sometimes. Do I promise not to apply for any? I'll promise not to apply for any for a little while. Oh, interesting. I wonder whose dirty laundry I've aired in public. Taking everything into account right now, this club is probably overachieving to a degree. The Rangers believe that being in fourth place is them overachieving. Brings into question why their last manager left. I wonder if they've actually just gone for a better job. So what are they looking to do? They want to maintain their club status as the most reputable team in Scotland. Someone might want to talk to Celtic about that one. Be competitive in Champions League, qualify for the Champions League, so the fourth place is definitely not overachieving. Win the Scottish Cup and be competitive in the League Cup. I think that one's been and gone. And then they want next season challenge for the Premiership title. And this is what I would expect from Rangers. Okay, yes, I can do that. £4.1 million transfer budget. Well, it's better than all they've got. But that wage budget is insane compared to what I'm working with. I can absolutely work with that. Well, I'm not convinced I'm getting that job, but let's see how it goes. No, I'm not favourite. It's still Ian Viggers. Okay, recruitment feedback. What have you found for me, Scouts? What have you found for me? Okay, lots of goalkeepers. That's good. Uh, Pick of the bunch is probably Carl Rushworth. Okay, okay, I can work with that. Let's get you on the short list. How do you compare with James Trafford, just out of interest? Okay, slightly better in most situations, a little bit slower. So probably, again, not much of a sweeper keeper. Better than Dylan Berry, who still has your beat. Eccentricity, I didn't notice that. I didn't look at that last time. You might be too much for me to handle. I've already seen James Trafford hopping all over the place and sliding at goalkeepers who strikers when he should be standing up to them. This is Brian Kinnear, who we sold for £8 million last summer. Interesting to see him pop up, and interestingly, no better, according to this, than my current goalkeeper. But I felt a lot more comfortable with him in goal than I have with James Trafford so far. And another one here, James Beadle, who is at Burton. Probably not as good as what we've got at the moment. So let's see who else. Let's go back to right and have a look at who they found for me in defence. Far too much for our poor budget. It's going to be one or the other, isn't it? I wonder if we can knock one of these down. Possibly not. Possibly not. Okay, well, we may have someone to fix our goalkeeper problem, because it is definitely a problem. James Trafford is worth at least 1 goal per game for our opposition. I feel like we could do better. Okay, let's go and line up against my potential new employers. James Trafford is still going to have to play in goal, because I don't think our other goalkeeper is really up to it. He's there just to make up numbers at this stage, really. I don't think he's. I think he has played some games for the first team, but frankly, he is the understudy. Yeah, he did play a number of games before I joined the club last season. I don't know whether that was down to injury, or perhaps the previous manager decided he didn't want the job anymore and so played him as their first choice goalkeeper, but he's certainly not my first choice. I'm going to give Huggins a start, I think. Yeah, he's in better form than Doherty. So despite my assistant manager's suggestion, I'm going to go with Huggins and Frame as my back to my fullbacks. And the centre back pairing will be McLennan and Ross Graham. Even though McLennan is 18, I feel that he can give us a bit more in his bigger games than Ika VT. We will go with Hadland and George Hall as our midfield pairing. And then I think at the moment, the three in behind the striker are pretty much picking themselves. Although Lameka has been inconsistent, he has still been in fairly good form. And Otterson seems to be given a better showing out on the right wing than he has up front so far. And that gives us a chance to get Andrucci involved in a few more games. So let's get our subs picked. I wonder if Ruffin is back from injury anytime soon. No, still a while away. And that is our 20 completed. Let's get into the game. So if media have noticed the run of form, I might have to have a word with him so far, with him personally about it, because ultimately he has cost us points over, at least over the last month, but I think pretty much since the start of the season. So Otterson managing to win the ball there and lay it out to McLennan. Hadland now has the ball through the centre and sprays it forward for Andrucci. But Rangers cut out the pass before giving it pretty much straight back to us. Some nice little passing around the back there. Nice tick-attack of football that. Otterson now bursts into the area, lays it back for Huggins. Hadland, and I'm really not entirely sure what Hadland was trying to achieve there, but we have the ball back with Shashua. And he goes mighty close, but doesn't quite put the keeper to work. Rangers now building up through their midfield, and the ball over the top for Colombo, and we just didn't pick up the runner. And James Trafford, unfortunately, as a sweeper keeper, looks completely out of his depth. I may have to play him just as goalkeeper and see if that takes away some of the decision making that clearly causes him problems. But it would just be a short term solution because I do plan to replace him. And Huggins, with a wonderful piece of individual skill there, turning the Rangers defenders inside and out, working with Otterson to open up the opportunity just on the edge of the 6 yard box. And we are 1-0 up at home to Rangers. Fantastic stuff. Turns the defenders inside out and then slams it in at the near post. The keeper will probably be unhappy with letting that one in, but we're delighted to see it go in. Rangers with a chance to immediately come back, and James Trafford comes and collects one. When he does that, I'm fairly comfortable, but there are plenty of situations with balls over the top where he's just not up to it. And while he could probably play quite well as a standard goalkeeper, that doesn't fit in with how I like my sides to play. And so he may not be able to remain with us. That's a lovely ball for Andrucci, and that's 2-0. We are flying here against Rangers, and I do hope I'm not doing my chances of getting their job any harm. I hope they're looking at this and thinking this manager here who's putting on a show for us is the one we need leading our club in the future. Rangers now with a free kick out wide, and um, I don't know what to say about that. The ball's been headed against our crossbar, and our 18-year-old centre back inexplicably just decides to head it into our goal. That's bizarre. Well, I'm actually speechless. I don't know what to say there. Right, well, let's try and put that out of our minds and continue. 2-1 it is to Dundee United. Rangers now with the corner, and that's swung right in front of the goalkeeper, and it's another one that hits the bar. We're treading a dangerous line here, and we need to start picking up their headers. They're better, they're taller players, and we've given away another free header there, and we're quite fortunate not to be equal on the score sheet. And another cross, another header. Ross Graham doesn't seem to be able to pick up anyone at the moment, and unfortunately, he's the man I need to be leading that back line with McLennan inexplicably just heading the ball into our own goal. He needs to do something to pick us up. Okay, we're going to tell Ross that he's not doing well enough. He needs to. He needs to know he needs to do better. He is the man we're looking to. Similarly, Lumeka has these ups and downs. Very inconsistent player, Lumeka. When he's good, he's incredibly good, and the rest of the time he's anonymous. He's not really involved at all. Right, we're going to encourage them, and that's a problem. No, that hasn't upset them, thankfully. It often does, but I feel like they needed something to try to keep them firing up in this game. Hall now. Oh, that's a loose ball. And we've got a counter attack to deal with Shackleton on the right. And it's another long ball over the top, and we just don't know how to deal with it. Unfortunately, Graham has looked all out of sorts so far today. And to top it off, Shashwa, who's been our best player for this season, has found himself injured. Well, we're going to put Carl McGuinness into that attacking midfield role where he excelled last season, but has been overshadowed by our new signing. But this is a blow. This is quite the blow. Okay, so we've given up our 2-goal lead and we're now looking a little bit shaky. We've lost our most creative player, but we are so close to retaking the lead there. The ball came in, the Rangers defence didn't really deal with it, and Drucci had a shot saved, and Lemeka just wasted the rest of the chance. And on that note, he needs to come off. He has been uh, very poor there. And Niall Huggins has found himself injured, so we're going to bring on Doherty right back, and that'll do us for the time being. And we are building quite well in this one, but McGuinness has just given the ball away. I've seen that happen far too many times. We get into attacking positions and decide to play it back to a defender for no reason that I can quite figure out. But we have got the ball back with Otterson now, who puts it forward for Lemeka, who is agonisingly wide with his shot. And that'll be his last action as the subs kick him. Otterson there running away from the ball as well. I mean, why would you not? And that gives Rangers the chance to attack, and we've just been skinned. There is obviously still quite the difference in quality between our players and theirs, and it showed quite significantly there. But Trafford does well to come and claim that particular cross. We've probably had the better of this. The XG is in our favour. I think we're going to encourage the players to keep getting forward. And I feel like I've got to take Ross Graham off. I really don't think he's been part of this. And we're going to get Lassie on as well in centre of midfield, just to bring a bit of youth and enthusiasm into the team. Hadley now out for Hull, and McGuinness back to Hull. Going to pass this around back to Trafford, and we're doing okay here. We're building the play from the back and then lumping it forward aimlessly. It is the downside of this vertical tick attacker. Eventually, the players just seem to lose patience for the passing game. But this time it may have worked out a bit better. We've got men in there. It's McGuinness, and that is incredibly good from the goalkeeper there. Have we got another sub? What can we do? What? No, we're out of subs. Let's just see how this game plays out then. I, I'm wary of making too many changes because 2-2 probably is a decent result for us even at home. But I do feel like we played well enough to deserve the 3 points. Can we do it? And the ball goes through to the goalkeeper a little bit too easily. And here is what worries me, the big ball over the top. But we've dealt with that one quite well, with Hadland getting back there, joining the defence. And the ball goes out to Otterson, through for McGuinness. And McGuinness has hit the post via the goalkeeper. And it just doesn't feel like we're going to get that win, does it? We've come so close on a number of occasions there, and that one looks like we really, really would have got it. But we've got another chance now with Val on the left, who puts it into the box, but won't just clear easily enough and launch their own counter attack. And we've got a man for free through the middle, and oh, that hurts. That hurts. We have thrown away a 2-goal lead. We just haven't finished the chances that have come our way, and despite having a far superior XG, more shots, decent possession, better pass completion, we've gone and lost at home. Well, unfortunately, the players are going to have to be told that is not good enough, particularly given. I think before the game, I would have taken a draw against Rangers. Would have been quite happy with that. But the fact that we were leading 2-0 and were on top for much of the game, and probably could have had 3 or 4 goals by the end, we've come away with the 3-2 loss. Gutting. Absolutely gutting. Well, we hold on to fifth place at least and still have that little bit of breathing room from Hearts. Really do wish we could have closed the gap on Rangers there. That gap is now 6 points, and it could have been none. It was that proverbial 6 pointer. That's 3 to 5 weeks. That's not good. Let's hope our physios, who are, I think, quite good, can cut that down. Because 5 weeks without Shashua is a long time. Although, who knows, we may well be moving over to Rangers if we have done enough in our interview to convince them that we are the man to take the job forward. We are the man. I am the man to take them forward. And if nothing else, the fact that we battered them and still let them win, that should do the convincing for me, shouldn't it? So next up, we've got Wraith Rovers away, and I'm tired of saying it, but it's one we should win. And unfortunately, every time I say it's one we should win, it seems to be one that we don't. And our form so far tonight, starting with the Newcastle game, um, Livingston, yeah, 6 goals we've conceded in 2 games there without reply. Not great. The New Saints took the lead against us. We did battle back and get a fairly convincing 5-2 win in the end. Um, but then we move on to Ross County, where we just could not make our superiority count. We did well against St Mirren to come away with a 3-1 win there. And Rangers, well, the heartbreak there was we were 2-0 up within 12 minutes and still ended up losing 3-2 at home, despite being the dominant team in that match. Let's see if we can do better against Wraith Rovers. I feel like we should be fairly close to a big run, a good run, like we saw at the end of last season, where we went a number of games unbeaten and rocketed up the league from 11th to 4th. I feel like we have a run like that in us somewhere where we lose one game in whatever number and pick up plenty of wins. We've got the quality in the squad, I think. Certainly, we had the quality in the squad last season, and from there we have improved on what we've got. So maybe that new goalkeeper will be the catalyst. Maybe a bit of confidence in the man between the sticks will be just what my players need to be able to continue forward. Okay. Another press conference. We do all love these press conferences, don't we? How long has? Okay, 2 days. He probably won't be back in time for the Wraith Rovers game, but he should be back fairly shortly after that. Okay. And go me, I have completed my Continental Pro license. I am now fully badged out. Quite fortunate that Osters, as I moved them rapidly through the Swedish leagues, they seemed quite happy to send me on any coaching badges I wanted. And with the long break in the winter that you get in Sweden, there was plenty of time for me to complete those without affecting training. So I think they actually paid for my pro license as well. I think I started that before I picked up the Dundee job. So we're going to start James Trafford. Hopefully, one last. No, we've got one more game before the window, so we have got to put him up in the next couple of games. But I hope that sooner rather than later we find a replacement because we desperately need something or someone to come in and improve our fortunes at the back there. Ross Graham being taken out. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with what my assistant says here for the most part. I think. Right. Initial frame. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the first one probably does deserve a run out. You better as a deep run playmaker. It makes no difference for you. That's fine. We'll have George Hall alongside him, who is tired, but we'll get through this game. Out on the right, we are going to put. We're running short of options out there, so Kujo can come out and play as a winger for this one. And with Shashua out, we are now looking for a replacement. We're going to give Lassie a start. And Lumeka will have a chance to atone for his poor performance against Rangers. I wonder if he's another one who suffers in the big games. Yeah, that might be why. Okay, well, we'll give him a little game, and we may have to keep that in mind for the future. It may well be that he makes way for bigger games, European nights, that sort of thing. Okay, let's give our youngster, who's got a bit of pace, and we need to potentially give him a few games, a few more games than I'm giving him so far. Otherwise, I feel like I'm probably wasting his development by keeping him at the club. Maybe if I can't find a place for him in the first team, I'll send him out on loan in January. Give him a chance to reach the potential he really has got plenty of pace, and he's got the those sort of green shoots of promise that he could turn into a decent striker. Okay, well, looks like there's some snow on the pitch here as we play against Wraith Rovers, and very much a lower league Scottish ground view that we've got in front of us there. Let's see if we can take advantage of a slightly rotated team and some poor weather to continue Wraith's misery in the Premier League so far this season. As we ping it all the way back to a defender once again. Oh wow, that's a decent finish from George Hall. It was passed into the net from 30 yards out, and I don't know if the keeper was just unsighted or uh, potentially Hall has hit that harder than I imagine. But that's an incredible shot. I mean, look at the swerve on that. The goalkeeper didn't stand a chance even from that distance. And that's exactly the sort of start we needed. We are still liable to throw these away, however. A bit of head tennis there, but we do finally get the ball down and start to play our game. Tharm plays it forward for McPherson, and we are embracing the tiki-taka style here at Dundee, despite the weather. And we move it forward with Cujo now. And that looked like it should have been a decent ball through for Andrucci, but he just gave up on that. But that's a good cross. Andrucci, however, offside. A rather drab first half. We've had not numerous shots, but not many worth making a highlight out of. Although we are back on the ball here, as that goes across the thumb, and that's over the bar. Okay, 1-0, but I think we should be doing better, given the apparent gap in ability between the two teams. Andrucci and Lameka just really not performing so far. So may have to give at least consideration to Lameka's place in the side. Andrucci, probably someone I'll give some more leeway to, given he's not had a huge run in the side. But Lameka is getting close towards the end of my tether. He can produce in some games, but more often than not ends up just being anonymous out on that left wing. We unfortunately don't have much in the way of left back cover, so we're going to put Ross Graham out there, I think. Let's see how Ross does as a left back. Seems to be fairly competent according to that star rating, so this is probably the game to try him out there. Okay, George is tired, so he can come off for a rest. We'll put Hadland on in his place. And let's give youngster Nichols a run out. Perhaps just that change, that unknown quantity up front will help to unlock the Wraith Rovers' defence. They won't know what to expect from him. He's only had a couple of subs appearances for us so far, really. We start with Cujo, and that's a good ball through for Nichols, and Nichols is close to getting a second goal for us, and what I think would be his first league goal for Dundee United. And that was exactly the sort of ball over the top. And he has got that goal. Suspicions of offside, but he's come on and had exactly the impact I was hoping for. And it is awarded. Kevin Nichols gets his first goal of the season. It's a good ball over the top for the man with plenty of acceleration, and he finishes calmly and coolly. Fantastic. Exactly the change exactly the impact we wanted that change to have. And I'm delighted to say it's come off. One last change now will bring McLennan on for Iacoviti, and hopefully we will just comfortably see out the game. We're going to waste some time and slow the pace down, as I'm very nervous about our propensity to throw games away from a winning position, even with just a few minutes to go. Graham now on the left wing, in for Vale, who crosses across but can't quite find Cujo. Doherty now has it out on the right wing. He puts it in for Cujo, out to Lussey, and the ball bobbles around the box a little bit before Wraith Rovers manage to clear and start their own counter-attack. and we deal with that quite well. So 4 minutes left to go, and I think we're going to see out this one relatively comfortably. Well, again, 25 shots, 3.36 xG. We're underperforming in terms of scoring goals here, but I'm not going to complain too much about a 2-0 win away from home. And that keeps us exactly in 5th place in the Premier League, in the Premiership. But and still 6 points behind Rangers. We've not really changed anything with that. We've just kept pace, which is fine. That's all. If that's all we can do, that's all we can do. See, this is a boy who definitely has some potential. 4-star potential. He's got bags of pace. The green shoots of spring there in his technical ability. He could be the one. I mean, his concentration, a little bit concerning there. But at this level, I think he's got the potential. So my scouts seem quite taken with Dean Cunningham. And looking at this, Feyenoord, Brighton, Everton, and Southampton, quite a group of teams to be in the hunt with. My priority is getting a goalkeeper in, and currently I do think Cole Rushworth is the man I want. It does depend on whether we can knock Leeds down to a price that's more befitting a club of our purchasing power. We're going to just wait a little bit, get into January, and then see what options there are. And of course, we've still got scouts looking for other potential signings in defence and in goal. I think goalkeeper is definitely the priority. Well, perhaps we are not looking too hard at a new goalkeeper. Perhaps what we're doing is looking at a new club. So Rangers have asked us for what backroom changes we want to make. So let's go and have a look and see if there's anyone worth taking along with us. We've got Gavin Strachan as an assistant manager, one of 3. That's interesting, isn't it? It looks like the Rangers coaching staff has suffered a little bit. So if we do take on the job, we've got a bit of a rebuild of the back office, backroom staff. It's a very weird 2 assistant managers for the B team. Surely can't be right. And there's a number of posts which are currently unfilled. So let's have a look and see who's worth taking with us. Thomas Rosicki would probably be great if it wasn't for the fact I'd already promised to keep Ross Wilson, who looks quite good at his job, to be fair. We've got Ed Harris, who might be better than Gavin Strachan. Do I want to keep Ed Harris with me? I think I do. Surely they don't allow many assistant managers. Okay, we're gonna sack Gavin Strachan off. I don't think he's really going to do much for us. He won't accept a coach position, so we're going to say goodbye to Gavin Strachan. Let's have a look at the head of youth development. My guy's quite good. Their guy is better, so we'll keep Craig Mulholland on board. Interesting that he's taken over as the caretaker manager there. Let's have a look. Colin Stewart, you're quite decent. You're a very good fitness coach, and you are not. So, do I have a better fitness coach in my setup? Slightly. So, you can make your way. We're still within the budget. What about the others? Critchley, I'd love for you to come across with me, and Grant Murray, quite good at defensive coaching, but you fall apart a little bit when it comes to tacticals. We will see how that goes. Anything you want to do with that? Hinchcliffe. Who's better at training my goalkeepers? So Moss or Hinchcliffe will just take whoever is cheapest there then. Always feel like nothing changed at all. Okay, we've got a head performance analyst. I'm not too fussed about who they are. Although you are terrible. Goodness me. You're quite expensive. I don't want to spend all of Rangers' money on bringing a few performance analysts across, so we'll just let those go. Physios, we don't need to worry too much about it. If we've got particularly good scouts that we want to hold on to. Chris McKean looks fairly good, actually. Julian Ward, you might be the one. Yeah, Julian Ward, I think you're good enough at this level. You particularly cheap? Yeah. We'll see what's out there. We'll just, when it comes to analyst jobs, I'm quite happy just to put adverts out and see whoever takes the job. Okay, well, there our backroom changes sent over to Rangers. I wonder if any minute now we will be receiving a contract offer. Are they going to make me play this one last game against Hibs? No, they are not. Rangers approach Theobald. So we are currently on 3.9 thousand, so £3,900. We're being offered pretty much over double that. The transfer budget of £4.1 million isn't huge, but that wage budget is incredibly, it's insane compared to what we've got. We've got 130,000 short of in our wage budget. At Dundee United, we're being offered six, seven times that to go to Rangers. It's a no-brainer. It gives us the opportunity to get some Champions League football, to get some Champions League money, to push for titles, to build our reputation, and start to pick up some of those really big jobs. It is one that we truly have to go for. Interesting that we've got a top division relegation wage drop clause in the contract. I suspect that if we got anywhere near relegation, we would be out on our backsides in no time. And they've quite happily accepted a 9.5k per week wage. Well, if there was any doubt in my mind at all, it was gone as soon as they agreed to negotiate a decent wage. We are going to Rangers. Well, I suppose we'd best update that on our stream information. So, a move that's sure to spark plenty of heated debate and undoubtedly a fairly unknown manager compared to others who surely would be in the frame for such a job. But I have left Dundee United to join Rangers. It's a decent record. They're 140 wins, 31 draws, 50 defeats, 3 league titles, all in Sweden. But hoping now to have a real crack at getting our first Scottish title. Bartow de Zerbi was considered the favourite for the job, but changed their mind at some point. A number of people coming over with us, and they say I prefer a 4-3-3. I've not used a 4-3-3 in a while, but when we take over Rangers, who knows, that might be what we go back to. And this is the reason that we're making this move. This is why Dundee United are merely a stepping stone. Rangers have everything at their disposal to become truly dominant in Scottish football. That means league titles, that means improving our reputation as a manager, and maybe even some success in Europe. We don't need inductions. We know what we're doing. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll set up a tactic and then we will probably call the stream there. We've got ongoing negotiations, work permit there, and what on earth are you? You're a coach. You coming in as an under 18s coach or a coach? You're on your way out. Okay. All right, well, that's fine. I think we had a better intake at Dundee United, didn't we? Okay. So that's interesting. When I said become the most, did you say become or remain? Become the most reputable team in Scotland, forge higher reputation than Celtic, obviously. Finish above Aberdeen in the league. Where are Aberdeen in the league? Okay, equal on points, we can do that. We're only 4 points behind Hibs. We are very much in the hunt for the title here, so I suspect we may be able to outdo the expectations of finishing in the top two. We're expected to win the Scottish Cup. Not sure what stage the Scottish Cup is at yet. Fourth round, so got a way to go before we can do that, but it's got to be within our gift, hasn't it? If I can do it with Dundee United, I'm sure I can do it with Rangers. Got a little bit of wiggle room in a wage budget there, £60,000, £4 million transfer budget to play with in January. So let's have a look at our tactic. Let's have a look at our squad. Who are our best players? So Jeremy Sarmiento, who is an inverted winger on the left-hand side. We have Paolo Bernardo, who is central midfielder, can play a slightly more advanced role as well. So definitely going to play. We've got another winger. Yilmaz is a winger, but is left back. That's fine. Shackleton, we've seen him play against us as a wing back, but also can play as a central midfielder or a defensive. He's best there, isn't he? It's another central midfielder. Box to box. I like a box to box midfielder. So we could play a 4-3-3, I think, and go back to the old style. Cozier Dewberry. It's one that I was trying to pursue as Dundee United, but just couldn't get close to his wage demands. Couldn't get close. You were able to play as a right back, yeah. So as well as a midfielder, as well as a winger. I think we are looking at 4-3-3 here. And then a number of players down here who probably just going to find their way out of the club sooner rather than later. It's a big squad. It is a big squad. Probably needs some trimming. Tom Davies, are you Tom Davies of Everton fame? You are. Okay, so we've got plenty of defensive midfielders, got plenty of central midfielders. That screams 4-3-3 to me. We've got a bit of ability out wide, and a decent striker. I'm 17 goals in 30 games. You're my striker. There's no two ways about that. Musa Barrow, you provide good cover, left wing and up front. Bernardo, we could use as an attacking midfielder if we need to, but I think he's going to slot into probably a deep lying playmaker role with alongside a box to box midfielder. And I think that said it. We're going 4-3-3. We are playing vertical tick attacker because that is how I do it. But I play a positive version of that. Yeah, 4-3-3 is exactly what we're going to go with. We will call it positive because that is how I do it. And if I just quick pick, interesting that Mackenzie Cass is here on loan at Rangers when he was on loan with me at Dundee, and we tried to get him for a second season. He went to Rangers instead and has started one game in that time. Just going to have you as a defensive midfielder, I think, and we'll have a box-to-box midfielder alongside a deep-lying playmaker on support. I wonder, actually, do we make you of this squad? Is anyone a deep-lying playmaker back there? Defensive midfielder, ball-winning midfielder. It might be someone a little bit more agricultural ball-winning midfielder. Okay, so we're going to put the deep-lying playmaker in midfield there. I have a ball-winning midfielder here, and we will start with that, I think. That might drift into a Mazzala role alongside the box-to-box midfield, and we go without a playmaker, but I'm not sure how I feel about not having a playmaker on the field. We'll see how this goes for the time being. You do need someone who kind of conducts it, otherwise they're all just running around like headless chickens. Not sure what Colombo's best role is up front. Potentially that. It could be a pressing forward as opposed to an advance forward. Again, we'll have to see. I'm going to start with the advance forward. I feel like we're going to be on the front foot most of the time. And we will just turn my inside forward into attacking inside forward because that's what they should be doing. And we will see how that plays. So I think that is our first tactic set up. We will create a similar tactic with the 4-2-3-1. Yeah, we'll go with the two DMs. Notice that Dundee United have those both central midfielders, but I think Rangers' strength might be in defensive midfield. And then we will whack in a 3-5-2 as well. Yeah, we'll do something like that, but we won't play this perverted six defender type. We'll go for a very boring flat lines 5-3-2 with potential to move one forward as and when we need to. I think that is how we are going to set up for the rest of this season. The aim surely has to be, we've got our tactics set up, surely has to be winning the league. The board are demanding Champions League football, and you only get that in the top two, so we will be challenging for the title if we are to keep our job. And interesting, they've dropped. Looks like they've dropped our requirements. Well, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. This page tells me we need to qualify for the Champions League, and yet this one tells me we need to qualify for the Europa League, which is third place. Interesting. Are we out of the Champions League already? Uh, are we in the Champions League? No, we're in the Europa League. Really interesting. What's the expectation? Be competitive. So where are we in the Europa League phase? Okay, scraping the barrel here. We have Shamrock Rovers and Leicester. So one winnable game out of those two. Leicester are top of the league phase, so it's unlikely we're going to win that one. Will one win be enough to see us through to the knockout phases of the Europa League? I'm not sure. I'm absolutely unsure about that one. But what I am sure about is we're in a much better position to really go on and try to assault this league title and see if we can get ourselves yet another league title in another country. And that's where we're going to leave off. We will pick up again next time at some point later in this week. And I do hope some of you can come and join me. Good night, and I'll see you next time.